So why is it that now he's put more than 100,000 troops on our border? And there, I think President Biden bears a lot of the blame. For a year, he's been appeasing Vladimir Putin.
My guess is he will move in. He has to do something. I think what you're going to see is that Russia will be held accountable if it invades. And it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not do, et cetera.
Vladimir Putin has certainly set the conditions to invade. This is the most dangerous time in Eastern Europe in years, maybe decades, to have a major war between two nation states. I think we should take a step back, though, and ask ourselves how we got here and why it matters. Vladimir Putin has said that he can't tolerate Ukraine joining NATO. That's a pretext. There's no plan for Ukraine to join NATO, or that he can't accept large numbers of American combat troops in Ukraine. That's a pretext as well. We've never had large numbers of combat troops there, only a few trainers from time to time. What he really wants is to reassemble the greater Soviet Russia empire that he thinks it was a geopolitical catastrophe when it collapsed in the 1990s. And he wants to have a non-democratic buffer zone. So the Russian people can't look to places like Ukraine or Georgia and say, if democracy works in those countries, why shouldn't it work in ours? That's what Vladimir Putin has always wanted, though. So why is it that now he's put more than 100,000 troops on our border? And there, I think President Biden bears a lot of the blame. For a year, he's been appeasing Vladimir Putin. He gave him a very one-sided nuclear arms control treaty the very first month of his presidency. He removed sanctions from the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia to Germany, which his own party opposed. He really did nothing about the colonial pipeline hack. And then, of course, in August, Vladimir Putin, like the rest of the world, saw Joe Biden's debacle in Afghanistan. So that's why Vladimir Putin thinks the timing is right here, and why this matters for the American people. It is very dangerous when you allow our adversaries like Russia and China and Iran to try to upend the status quo, and all we do is have strongly worded speeches or some mealy-mouthed sanctions. So if Vladimir Putin can get away with this in Ukraine, what does that say to Xi Jinping about what he can do in Taiwan? Or what he can do to threaten our military positions in the Western Pacific? What he can do to continue to cheat on trade deals to take jobs and wealth away from this country? That's why the American people care about what happens in Eastern Europe, is because it emboldens and encourages our adversaries everywhere.